Laura A. Grace here, the author of Dear Author, Letters from a Bookish Fangirl, and Team Lines of Poetry collection, and an upcoming manga, Gathering Faith, which hopefully will be here next year. I am so excited to be doing this video. Usually I don't ever do these videos. I don't even do these as blog posts when I was book blogging. I just didn't feel comfortable highlighting a certain amount of books from the year because there were so many good books, but there were a few books that really stood out to me and I really want to share them with you. So I thought I would do a top 10 of the books I read this year. 5 being like manga and then 5 being novels. And I'm really excited. Like I said, there were just so many awesome, incredible books this year, but these 10 really stood out to me and really just grabbed my heart, and I just had to share them with you, especially since the new year is almost here. And I'll also be taking a brief hiatus because I am going to be doing some new things next year. I will have another video on that here shortly, so stay tuned for that. But let's talk about all of the amazing books. I figured we would start with the manga first. I don't know, just because that sounds cool to do. One thing to keep in mind is that some of these books are digital, or some of them I got from my library, so I don't have all of the physical copies actually on hand. But here we go. My top 5 manga from the year 2020. Now I'm going to do these not in any certain order, just sort of like in whatever order. First up, I'm going to say Beauty Pop. I read the whole manga series here recently and I absolutely loved it. I will leave a link where you can check out my full review of what I thought of the series. It was really good. I was shocked how much I loved it, and then how I put off the final volume because I didn't want to finish reading it because I've enjoyed it so much. I'm currently following a seller on a website to try and maybe get this manga series. I checked it out from my library and it's out of print, which is so sad. And it's part of why I'm like, I sort of need to go ahead and just bother the seller and be like, can I buy it off of you? But I'm sort of hoping that she will lower the price. But if you like beauty makeovers or you just like hairstyling and whatnot, this is a fantastic series. It's like a romance comedy, a little bit of slice of life, and it's just very humorous, a lot of fun, and I absolutely love the tips that the manga creator throws in about hair and about facial structure, and it was just, guys, it was just awesome. I really enjoyed this manga. The second one was Karate Heat. Oh my goodness. I have another video where I gush all about volume 1. I have volume 2 and I have not read it, but now that NaNoWriMo is over, I can read volume 2 and I'm so excited. I loved Shinya. He reminds me so much of Hinata from Haikyuu and makes my heart just so incredibly happy. It is a fantastic shonen series. I highly recommend it, whether you're like, I don't even like karate or not, because I didn't really know anything about karate before reading this manga, but oh my goodness. Shinya, guys, is just so amazing. You must read Karate Heat. It is so good. It is so good. And Shinya, he just hits right in the feels when you find out about why his posture is so good. Please, guys, go check it out. It's only a digital manga, but hopefully Kodansha will one day release it as a paperback because I really want it. I love this manga so very much. Number 3. Okay, technically this is not a manga. It is a graphic novel, and I think it's called The Grimalet Sisters. And oh man, I loved it. I read it in about 30 minutes and then I went promptly to Amazon and bought it. I have recommended it to a lot of different friends. It's a very beautifully illustrated graphic novel, bright colors, and the story just hits you in the heart. I cried at the end of this book. It was phenomenal. I got it from NetGalley and I just had to support Europe Comics, let them know I love this book. I want the other volumes in this series because this one was the first one and it's called Sarah's Dream, and it's fantastic. If you like stories that are revolving around sisters, and if you like mystery and you just love colored illustrations, definitely check out this graphic novel. It is so good. Number 4 was another favorite, and that was Waiting for Spring. Oh my goodness, I loved this one too. I've only read the first 3 volumes. I'm actually waiting for the last volume, the 14th volume, to release, even though I have been told that I could read volume 13 and it be a satisfying ending, but I've heard mixed feedback of yes, it's satisfying, and then no, you should wait. So I was like, we're just gonna wait. I have it on pre-order, and I have just the first volume and volume 13 on my bookshelf, and I have all of the other volumes from the library, and I'm just waiting, guys, so patiently, not patiently, for the final volume to release. Oh, it was a really fun series, and it was like exactly a manga that I was looking for. Granted, I wanted the sport to be volleyball, but I loved the basketball aspect. Like, it's a minor part of the story. The romance is super duper sweet, and oh my goodness, our main characters are just, oh, I love it. This is definitely a like must read if you like shoujo, or if you like sports overtones, but nothing like hardcore. Boom, check out Waiting for Spring. So incredibly good. A very clean romance, very, very sweet. And our last manga on my top 5 from this year is also not a manga. It is a light novel. But since I've noticed that the manga community sort of like lumps them together, I wanted to include it. And it does have a manga, but I have not read it. And that was Kuma 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 Bear. This light novel really surprised me as I read it. I really didn't know what I was feeling. I was like, I like it, but I'm not sure about it. But then here recently, when we went to the bookstore, I bought book 2, and I was like, okay, I apparently love this more than I realized, and the fantasy aspect was phenomenal. I am planning to do a review of this light novel and the second volume, hopefully here soon. I'm thinking about watching a little bit of the anime because the panda aspect is, or just the bear aspect, I should say, is fantastic. It's so funny. I have been intrigued about this because of the cover, but then I read the opening like chapter at Barnes & Noble's, and I was like, Yuna is just hilarious. I mean, I don't think she's intending to be, but just her dry humor, so to speak, is really good. So this is a fun one if you're looking just really honestly for something light. Like, there's not a heavy plot, there's some action, there's no romance, and just the fantasy part is probably one of the best things about this story. I definitely recommend it, and I'm really excited to do a video review on it. So those were my top 5 manga from this year. Now let's go into my top 5 novels from this year. Really excited about these 2. There was a lot of fantastic books that I read this year, and these were the 5 that stood out to me the most. This one was actually the first novel that came to mind for my top 10 reads of 2020, and that was definitely Legend of the Storm Sneezer. Oh my goodness, like, this book is incredible. I do not do horror. I do not do spooky. I don't even usually do like middle grade literature, but this story just hit my heart. It was so emotionally moving. It was hilarious. And yes, it was a little bit spooky. And I did have a point where I jumped off my couch because my husband accidentally scared me. But it was totally worth it. I'm so excited for book 2. It's coming out from Monster Ivy Publishing next year. And I cannot wait to see what Christiana does with these characters, just with this series. It is wildly imaginative, and it pulls your heartstrings. You have an adorable Stormcloud. He's not on here, but the Stormcloud is totally amazing, and just the friendship between our main characters is absolutely fantastic. Nothing romantic at all. I definitely recommend to middle grade readers or just even adults. Like, it's just fun and enjoyable, and I loved it so very, very, very much. Another one, or I should say the second one that I really loved, was Carnival of Curses by Selena J. Eckert. Look, this was another shocker for me. I don't like vampires. I like fae. I'm not a huge fan of fae in general. That's just me. But wow, Carnival of Curses just was amazing. I'm so sad I actually did not do a video review on it. I plan to do like a video review of quite a few of Selena's books, because this one currently is a novella, I believe. Just the character arc of the main character was so moving. Like, I think I got really emotional at the end because her story, her diligence, her yearning, just her dreams was really, really moving. And I think it could be extremely relatable for any high schooler, especially. And the word building aspect was really awesome. I think Selena was promoting it as like Avatar meets, I don't remember, it's meets something, but one of the, I can't remember her name, but the girl, oh, Ty Lee, there we go. But it was sort of like a not a spin-off, but it was just a fun twist with a Ty Lee like character, and it is there, and I needed it. I wanted it, and it was so worth it. I love the word building. I love the friendship and the community and the overcoming and realizing dreams. It just had a lot of good feels. Like, if you like having a blend of fae with vampires and dancing and just a little bit of humor with a lot of fails, I definitely recommend Carnival of Curses. I recommend a lot of Selena's books. They are very, very good, and they're very fun, and I'm just always amazed by the intensity of her word building, but where it's not overwhelming. Like, it all just flows so well together. It is fantastic. Number 3 was another book that made me cry, which is just so funny. What is up with this? But it's not like a sob cry. Like most of them, I think with Legend of the Storm Cruiser, like I did have a fairly okay cry in that one. But Carnival of Curses was just more because it's hitting the heart. And this book, Cry of the Raven, was another one that really hit me. And it is the first time I played like epic music in my head to go with the story. I absolutely loved how this was one of the first series, if not the first series I've read, where the main couple is like the main characters of the story. Like they get married, and it's their story, their journey, and it was just awesome. We need more married couples that are the main characters in fiction, and Morgan totally delivers on this. I loved how it was wrapped up. I loved the ending. I loved how it was sort of an open ending where there was a possibility there could be more. And yes, I totally need more. This is book 3 in her series, The Ravenwood Saga. Lady Celine's journey from book 1 to book 3 was fantastic and just really heart-moving, and seeing healing and seeing people to come together despite some prejudice against one another, and of course the fantasy aspect was really fun. I love the whole dream world. Like, that was totally intriguing and very wow, because I have only read one other book, I think, that takes place in a dream world of sorts. So Lady Celine has come a long way. Damien is still my favorite character. I love Damien, and he is just incredible again in this series. Though, like, oh, his struggles like really hit my heart. He must be an ISFJ character, because just his decisions I felt would be like reflections of my own decisions if I was in his shoes. And I love Damien part of that, because I could really, like, there's only one other character, and she's a female, that I just immensely related to and could just see myself in his shoes, like, exactly. Very, very, very good. If you like Christian fantasy in general, I would say, and then wanting just a clean romance and having a married couple the main focus, definitely check out the Ravenwood Saga. And also, if you like having like a dream world kind of thing where that plays a big role in the story, yes, definitely yes for this series. My 4th one, I really loved. It's actually an anthology, and that is Of Myth and Monster by Phoenix Fiction Writers. Guys, I gushed about this anthology already, and I went into detail, mainly spoiler-free, I would say, about each of the stories, and I can't shake this anthology. And that's a good thing. Like, I don't mean that in a bad way, but wow, like, even though it's been quite some time since I've read it, just these stories resonated with my heart so much. I really loved them. I felt like it challenged me as a reader. I definitely had to stop and put the book down to think, and that was part of why I felt like I needed and had to mention this anthology, because I love when a good story makes you think. I love when you have to put it down, because you're just like, I need to dwell on this. I need to think about what they're saying and how it's affecting me and why it's affecting me the way it is. And plus, the creativity and the imagination of these stories is mind-blowing. Like, I am always deeply impressed with the Phoenix fiction writers. They choose, like, I think a theme every year, because this is their third anthology, I think, and they choose a theme, and just the way they all come together and they bring their unique touches is just extraordinary. Like, guys, you must read their books, their anthologies. Like, oh, they are just so very, very good, especially if you're looking for something on the shorter side and you're like, man, I want to check out some new authors, but I don't want to really buy like a bunch of books. Buy the anthology. Check them out that way. It's very, very good. It's hard to say which one is my favorite. I know which one it is. I can't remember the name of it, but it doesn't matter because I loved all of these and I want everybody to know that all of these stories are really good. So Of Myth and Monster was definitely a favorite from this year. And the last one, which I read on my Kindle, was Ashes on the Earth by Sarah Ashwood. And oh, like, I don't read urban fantasy. Urban fantasy is not a genre that I am a fan of personally. Not just because of the tropes or anything like that, but, and it also usually has more steamy romance, more than I'm usually comfortable with. But I had wanted to check this out because I was really fascinated by my friend sharing, Sarah. She was sharing just like paragraph, snippets, there we go, sharing snippets from her story. And I was really, really intrigued because she sort of takes on legends from different countries and then makes them come to life in this world. And the main character, who I cannot even remember her name, I see her face, she wears glasses, she's super cute. She is a very fun main character, in my opinion, even though she's pretty much thrusted in this crazy monster-like world, more or less. I mean, it's her world, but she finds out that these legends are actually real. And the intensity of this story was really, really good. But I was totally upset by the ending, not because it was bad, but because, like, oh my goodness, like, things happen and I need book 2. In fact, I think book 2 has released and I haven't gotten it and read it yet, so I need to go do that after this video because, woo, like, the things that happen at the end, oh my goodness, I can't even put it into words, but it is definitely, I recommend if you like urban fantasy and you like a main character who's definitely more down to earth. I did feel she was very down to earth, and that's why I liked her, because she felt more relatable to me and not like I'm just gonna go kick everybody's butt because I'm super strong and super awesome. She is super awesome, but she does not kick everybody's butt, and she's not a chosen one like kind of character. It's sort of like an accident that all of these things happen. And it has a marriage of convenience. And I have to admit, I do like marriages of conveniences. And I really hope that there are like good things in store for this couple. I need to know. So that was a really fun one. And I thought it was one of my top reads this year because it was in a genre that I don't typically read and I'm not very fond of. But I really, really loved this book. It was really good and I definitely recommend it. Those, my friends, are my top 10 reads from this year. Have you read any of these books? Have you read any of this manga? Totally let me know. Let's gush together. And if you haven't, totally okay. Let me know what were some of your favorite reads from this year, because my TBR is always growing, and especially my manga collection is always growing. So I would love to hear from you, friends. I hope you have just a fantastic upcoming Christmas. Remember, I'll be sharing an update video here probably next week or so, and I can't wait to chat with you guys again. Have a great weekend.